Ever been in a situation where everyone just knew the rules, even if they weren't written down anywhere?
Yeah, those unspoken codes.
Exactly. And breaking them could change everything, your reputation, how people see you, maybe even your safety.
Definitely.
Now imagine those rules aren't just about, like, social awkwardness, but about life and death, trust, betrayal, especially in some really tough environments.
That states.
That's the world we're stepping into today. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
Glad to be here.
Today, we're getting into a pretty intense controversy. It's really blown up online and within the hip-hop community.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about the allegations of snitching against the YouTube personality 1090 Jake.
Right. He's built a big platform, hasn't he? Went from being an inmate to this prominent online figure.
He really has. But these specific claims, they've cast this long shadow. It's challenging his credibility, sparking some really heated debates.
Among his fans and critics alike, yeah.
So our mission for this deep dive is pretty clear. We want to unpack the specific incidents people point to.
Get into the details.
Yeah, and really understand what this street code of silence actually means. Its weight. Then look at Jake's defense, his side of it.
And then zoom out, right? Think about the bigger picture, these cultural codes in today's world.
Exactly. And we've got quite a bit to work with. Court documents, lots of online discussion threads, interviews, trying to piece together a complex situation.
Sounds good. Let's dive in.
Okay, so when we talk about these allegations, we really need to start with the concept behind it all.
Right.
The no snitching rule. Now, I think a lot of you listening have probably heard the phrase, but its actual significance, its role as this kind of unwritten law in street culture, in prison, it's often underestimated.
It's foundational in those contexts.
Right. It's not just, keep quiet. It's a core principle. You absolutely do not give info to cops or authorities about other people, especially people in your own community.
It's not a suggestion. It's a hard rule.
A really hard rule with serious, sometimes life-altering consequences if you break it. So what gives this code such power? Why is it still so strong?
That's a really crucial question. And the why is fascinating. At its heart, this no snitching code often comes from a deep historical distrust of outside authority.
Like law enforcement.
Especially law enforcement, yeah. Within these communities, there's a huge emphasis on internal loyalty. It creates this distinct, almost parallel system of justice.
Its own set of rules.
Exactly. And those internal codes are often seen as more important or at least more relevant than the legal system outside. So breaking that code isn't just a small mistake.
It's seen as betrayal.
It's like treason against the group. It can lead to being completely cut off, losing all respect, and sometimes, yeah, even physical danger. It's about protecting the group, maintaining order internally, and basically survival.
Survival in places where maybe the official system isn't seen as helping.
Or is even seen as the opposition. The code creates this kind of self-policing solidarity.
It paints a picture of incredibly high stakes, doesn't it?
For sure.
Okay, so with that heavy context, let's talk about the specific incident that always comes up with 1090 Jake, the flashpoint.
Right, the aunt's house.
Yeah, that widely discussed altercation at his aunt's place. Now, according to court documents, online chatter, Jake himself admitted firing a BB gun during whatever happened there.
Which already got people talking.
It did. But the real issue, the thing that kicked off the snitching talk, goes deeper. What exactly happened there that makes it stick to him so much?
That incident really is central to a lot of these claims. Our sources, especially court documents, they detail how this fight, this altercation, led to the police getting involved.
Yeah.
And here's the crucial part. Jake apparently gave law enforcement a detailed statement about what went down.
A detailed statement.
Yeah, and what makes that so explosive, according to his critics, is that this statement reportedly implicated 2 teenagers who were also involved.
So he didn't just say there was an incident.
Apparently not. He reportedly gave specifics, details that pointed fingers at other people involved in the situation.
And that's where the critics, especially those who really live by or understand that street code, they just jump on it.
Absolutely.
They argue that giving those specifics, naming or identifying others to the police, that's a clear violation of the no snitching rule, period.
For them, it's unambiguous.
Yeah. So that incident becomes Exhibit A, basically. It raises serious questions for them about his credibility, his alignment with the street ethics he often discusses. It's seen as a fundamental breach.
Not just a slip-up.
Not at all.
Uh.
But as we found, looking through the sources, the claims don't actually stop there with the aunt's house.
Right, there's more.
This deep dive also uncovered other allegations about Jake's behavior while he was actually incarcerated. Different situations, same theme.
Disclosure.
What do the sources suggest about his time inside prison?
Yeah, the claims definitely extend into his time locked up. Sources, mainly online discussions, interviews, they point to allegations that Jake provided information about what other inmates were doing.
Like what kind of activities?
Specifically, there are claims he shared details about how contraband was being smuggled into the prison.
Wow.
Now, think about a prison environment. It's like a pressure cooker of loyalty and suspicion, right? These informal networks, how things get moved around, they're vital.
Almost like an underground economy and social structure.
Exactly. So giving up information like that, if it happened, is seen as a massive breach of trust, a huge violation of that internal inmate code.
That unspoken agreement not to work with the guards against each other.
Precisely. Breaking that carries enormous weight inside. It can have really severe ripple effects, not just for the person accused, but for the whole dynamic on the block or in the unit.
You can immediately see how actions like that, if they're true, would seriously complicate his image, especially for someone who later talks so much about understanding these codes.
It creates a huge perceived hypocrisy.
It really does. Seen as a major betrayal of trust among inmates, flying right in the face of the rules governing those spaces.
Yeah, the contrast is stark.
Okay, but let's be fair. 1090 Jake hasn't just ignored all this. He's actually addressed these allegations, right? In interviews, online, he's put out his defense.
He has. He's been quite vocal in pushing back.
So what's his side of the story? How does he counter these claims?
Well, his defense, looking across different interviews, seems to stand on, two main arguments. He's trying to reframe what happened.
Okay, what are they?
First, he claims that any information he gave was already public knowledge, or stuff the authorities would have found out anyway.
So the argument is he wasn't revealing secrets.
Essentially, yeah, implying it doesn't count as snitching because it wasn't new or damaging info. Second, he claims he was coerced into making statements.
Pressured.
Right. Suggesting he didn't really have free will in the situation, that he was under duress from authorities. He often paints it as being caught in a tough spot, and his actions were a result of that pressure, not a voluntary betrayal.
So trying to argue it doesn't fit the spirit of the snitching rule, maybe.
That seems to be the angle, justifying it based on the circumstances.
He also talks a lot about transparency, doesn't he? Framing it as sharing his experiences to, educate others, especially younger people.
Yeah, that's definitely part of his narrative now. He presents the disclosures not as betrayal, but as a necessary part of his story, his transformation.
Using his past to warn others off that path.
Right, sort of positioning it as having a higher purpose almost, reframing the narrative.
Okay. But, and this is a big but, how is that defense landing? Are people accepting it?
Well, that brings us to a really key point where the opinions just split dramatically. According to our sources, his critics, they remain largely unconvinced.
They're not buying the justifications about public knowledge or coercion.
It really doesn't seem like it. Their argument stays pretty firm.
Which is?
Which is basically that in their view, his disclosures, regardless of why he says he did it or if he felt pressured, they fundamentally undermine those unwritten codes, both in prison and on the street.
So for them, the act itself is the problem.
Pretty much. The act of giving information to law enforcement about others, especially inmates or associates, is the violation. The why might be relevant to him personally, but it doesn't erase the what.
It's about the principle. The integrity of the code is paramount.
And any breach, however you try to explain it away, is still a breach. That seems to be the core of the criticism.
Okay, and then there's this layer that just adds another level of complexity. Almost irony, really.
Yeah.
Our sources consistently point out that 1090 Jake himself is known for being extremely vocal, calling out other people he accuses of snitching.
Right. He's built part of his platform on that, hasn't he? Exposing others.
Exactly. He often acts like a judge and jury online, pointing fingers at others for doing the very things he's accused of. What does that tell us?
It's a fascinating twist, isn't it? That irony. It reveals a lot about maybe self-perception, public image.
How people see themselves versus how others see them.
Yeah, and the, let's say, inconsistent application of these really strict codes sometimes. It suggests maybe some cognitive dissonance, Someone acting as the enforcer of rules, they're accused of breaking themselves.
Which, for his critics, must just scream hypocrisy.
It definitely fuels their arguments. But stepping back from Jake specifically, it makes you wonder, who gets to decide what snitching even is in every case? Do the rules apply the same way to everyone?
including the people who position themselves as the rule keepers.
Right. It shows how these codes can maybe be applied selectively or how people might rationalize their own actions differently than they judge others. And it also highlights the pressure, especially online, to project this image of hardcore adherence to the code.
Even if your past is complicated.
Exactly. That tension between the past and the present public persona, it's what makes this whole situation so charged.
So if we try to pull back and look at the bigger picture here,
Yeah, connect the dots.
these specific allegations against Jake, they really put a spotlight on this incredibly complex intersection, don't they? Personal actions, public perception, and these powerful cultural codes.
It's not just about what technically happened or what was said in a statement. It's how it all gets filtered through the lens of these unwritten rules. And that lens is often very unforgiving.
These aren't just abstract ideas floating around. They have real impact on people's lives, their reputations.
Absolutely. And this whole debate really just hammers home how crucial trust and discretion are in prison and in street communities.
They're not optional extras.
Not at all. They're like the bedrock. They dictate relationships, who's who in the hierarchy, often just basic survival. When that trust is seen as broken, the fallout can be huge and last a long, long time.
It echoes way beyond the original incident.
Yeah, it's a potent reminder of just how binding these invisible social contracts can be.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive then. We've really explored this core tension, 1090 Jake's actions, his explanations, versus these very deeply rooted codes of conduct and loyalty in certain communities.
Communities where those codes carry immense weight.
Right, and while Jake stands by his story, gives his reasons for the disclosures.
The whole controversy is just a powerful illustration of the consequences, the very real fallout when personal choices clash head-on with these established unwritten rules.
It really speaks to the enduring power of reputation and, I guess, integrity within those specific cultural frameworks.
Definitely. And maybe this leaves us with a question for you, our listener, to think about.
Yeah.
In this era we live in where personal stories, past mistakes, sensitive info, it's all out there, shared and picked apart online constantly. How do these traditional codes of silence, of loyalty, even adapt? Do they adapt?
That's a big question.
It is. And what new challenges does all this digital exposure create for trust, for reputation, even for what loyalty means in these communities today?
Something to definitely mull over as you navigate your own world, online and off.